Welcome to our three-part series on explaining SaniTrend Cloud OEE. So SaniTrend Cloud is a software as a service that gives you reporting cycles for your automated cleaning system. This video series is going to go through the OEE portion, or overall equipment effectiveness, and explain each of those parameters as how it relates to the actual cleaning system and what you can do to help improve your cleaning system's efficiency. So the three parameters of OEE are availability, performance, and quality. And in each episode, we'll dig a little bit more into each of those parameters. Welcome to part 2 of explaining SaniTrend Cloud OEE. Today we're going to talk about performance. So last episode we talked about availability. As a refresher, the availability is how well is my system running during the cleaning time I have. So the things that impacted that are operator stops and alarms. So those things shut the system down. By contrasting today, performance, the impacts of performance are basically things that slow down the cleaning cycle speed. So I want to wash, whether it's a CIP or a cabinet washer, I want to wash as fast as I can. Things that slow this process down are a couple of things. One, utilities like water fill. So if I have lower pressure and my water is filling slower today than it was yesterday, that's going to extend my cycle time and degrade my performance score. Other things, heat up time. So as you're adding heat, whether it's electric or steam, if your utilities are fluctuating, that can impact and lengthen the time to heat up. Chemical addition, so you're pumping in chemical for your chemical washes. If you have leaks or plugs with the chemical line or something's not quite working correctly there, you may extend the time that you're using to inject chemical. The other major utility hit for performance is drain time. So if I have tied into my drain system and something backed up and slowing down my drain time, that would also negatively impact performance score. So today's cycle, we're going to again run a baseline to look at an ideal cycle, just a simple fill, recirculated rinse, and then drain. So keep it real easy so we can compare these scores. So that will be our baseline OEE scores. And then what we're going to do for tweaking our parameter today is we're going to adjust the incoming water pressure. So the baseline is going to have a full open valve and water pressure is going to come in full blown. When we slow that water fill and choke off that valve for incoming water, that would be simulating in your plant something like some other utilities at that time trying to use your water source. So you have a lower pressure and you're getting less flow to your system. So each of the fill steps, whether it's a cabinet washer or a CIP tank that you're filling with water, it's going to be longer to do that. So we'll run that after a baseline and then compare the two OEE scores and discuss the results. So let's start our baseline here. So we just ran our baseline cycle. Now you're looking at our water supply for our cabinet washer. So the supply on the left here is the valve to the cabinet washer, the water supply. So this is the water that's filling up the cabinet when we open that water fill valve. And you can see it's fully open. So we have a pretty good sitting water pressure here, and we get a pretty fast fill. That sump fills up in about 20, 30 seconds or so. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna close this, and not all the way, but this is simulating other systems that could be attached to this water supply in your facility. They might be drawing water at the same time you're trying to fill. Maybe there's new projects you're adding to your facility where more and more systems are utilizing water from the same line, and you're getting less and less water pressure, which in turn is reducing the flow to your system and increasing those fill times for the water fill. So we close this off, so there's just going to be a little bit of a trickle into our system. So instead of that 20 seconds to fill, it's going to take maybe a couple minutes. So we're going to use this to look at our performance score and how it's impacted.
All right, now we're in our SaniTrend Cloud user interface, and we're taking a look at the performance degradation cycle that we ran and how we can use performance to try to improve our cycle times and overall system efficiency. So first, again, we're going to look at the perfect or the ideal OEE values for this particular recipe. So in this case, I'm going to go over to the recipe steps on this cycle. We ran at 100% availability on this one, right? We didn't have any downtime. This was 100%, it filled, it rinsed, it drained. We didn't stop it or anything like that. Our performance score is at 70 because of our fill sump and our drain sump time took a little longer than programmed. I explained that in a previous episode, how that's normal. So our 70 is our baseline. On the quality, 100, right? We didn't abort, we didn't step through anything, so our quality was good for this. So this is our baseline one. And now I'll jump over to our recipe where we closed that water valve a little bit, right? So that water fill took a lot longer to fill up. And I can see that actually if I look at the level, right? Instead of a quick fill that we would have seen in our perfect recipe, I filled over 2, 3, 4 minutes or so. And this is common, right? If you don't have high enough water pressure, or something's going on with your water system, other utilities are using it, this can definitely happen. A normal 30-second fill can take 4 or 5 minutes, and if you compound this over multiple times in the overall wash cycle, obviously this can really extend your time. So there we see the level taking longer. But we also see our performance score up here, right? So availability looks good, 100, no stops or anything like that. Quality looks good, no aborted cycles, but our performance score really took a hit here. So if we look at our recipe steps, we can see that instead of 30, but we had about 30-second fill or so with that ideal high pressure, good water flow coming in. This time we took over 5 minutes to fill. So this one we were just trickling in, and you could really see that issue with that low performance score, right? So our baseline was 70. Anything below that, you can come into this recipe steps area and really figure out which of these steps took longer to run than anticipated, and then help to diagnose those issues. So in this case, we maybe look at our water supply system and see where we can optimize or improve that. Thanks for joining episode 2 performance of our SaniTrend Cloud OEE series. If you missed episode 1 on availability, go back and check that out, and please make sure to catch the upcoming episode 3 on quality.